Well, I did all those things between 16 and 21. I went to prison between 21 and 26. I was very lucky the government took me out of prison at 26 to work with the government. I've spent the last 40 years working with the FBI. But along the way, I met my wife. I've been married for 39 years. She gave me three beautiful sons. One son's an FBI agent today. It's just been really my wife that's turned my life around. Being a good husband, being a good father, and knowing the importance of those things is what really changed my life. Well, I'm very amazed by that because what I did 50 years ago is now 4,000 times easier to do today because of technology. So, 50 years ago, there were con men, confidence men. You had to appear in a good way, you had to dress well, you had to speak well, you were dealing one-on-one with your victim. Today, of course, you're dealing with someone who's sitting behind a computer that might be in Russia, North Korea, China. They're never going to see you. You're never going to see them. You don't know who you're being victimized by. It doesn't matter how they dress or what their education or vocabulary is. So the technology has made it so much easier today to steal from people than it was 50 years ago. Well, of course, the elderly, but also children. If a child's 2 years old and I steal their identity, I can be that child for a long period of time before everyone's going to find out that I stole that identity. So the younger a child, the more valuable their identity is. That child's not likely to seek credit or use their credit or their identity for several years, and I can become that child for a long period of time. So we are very concerned with children as well as the elderly, and that parents need to do a good job of protecting their children's identities. I only ask people to do what I do myself and have for years. Number one, I do use a shredder. I shred everything because what you believe to be worthless is of great value to someone else. So I use a microcut shredder that turns paper into confetti or like rice so it cannot be put back together again. I do use a credit monitoring service. I have since the early 90s. I select the service because they monitor all three credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, and they notify me in real time. They don't write me a letter or every 90 days come and tell me how my service is. They notify me in real time. Third, I don't write a lot of checks in today's environment. If I go into a drugstore and write a check for $9, I have to give the clerk that piece of paper, the check. On the check is my name and address and phone number, my bank's name and address, my account number at that bank, my routing number into my account, that's your wiring instructions, my signature on the signature card at that bank, and then the clerk has written down my state driver's license number and my date of birth. We live in truncation, so we don't get the check back, but anyone who were to see that check could access my bank account, they could order checks in the mail, they could wire money out of my account, so I'm very careful about who I write checks to in today's environment. I'm not on any social media sites, but you can rest assured that if I was on a site like Facebook, I wouldn't be telling people where I was born or my date of birth. Otherwise, I might as well just say, come steal my identity. And finally, of course, I don't use a debit card. Never owned a debit card, don't use a debit card. I use the safest form of payment, which is a credit card. And when I use a credit card, if someone were to steal my information or steal my credit card information, I am not liable, even if they charge $1 million on my card. When I use a debit card, that's my account, and if they steal any money, they're going to steal it out of my account, and I have to convince the bank to put the money back in my account. If it's my credit card, all I simply do is not pay that dollar amount and notify the credit card company that someone stole my identity and use my credit, and I'm not liable for that. So a credit card is much safer. And of course, if you go to AARP.org Fraud Watch Network, that's AARP.org/Fraud Watch Network, you'll see some quizzes and other tips that I put up there to help give you good information about protecting yourself, your family, your children from being victimized by these crimes. Very great partnership, something I am personally very excited about. I have spent the last 4 decades traveling around the world speaking to corporations, banks, and governments, and never actually reaching consumers. This has given me the opportunity to work with AARP and go out and across the country and actually give seminars and presentations to AARP members and non-members and people who want to attend and learn about how to protect themselves and their family and their assets. There's no fee to attend these seminars, and what I really am impressed at is AARP is not selling anything at these seminars. They're strictly there to provide a service and help educate people. And education is the most important and most powerful tool we have to dealing with crime. If you can explain to people what their risks are and they can understand them, they can go back and protect themselves. So AARP has put together a great program with Fraud Watch and the network, and I am very excited about being part of that. Simply go to aarp.org/fraudwatchnetwork, and you'll find a tremendous amount of information to help you protect you and your family from being victimized. Thank you. Okay. 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 Okay, great.